This is an open letter to the Sane Society, specifically the Sane Society who are in charge of Uncle Sam's business. The Sane Society who's in charge of running Uncle Sam's business, managing Uncle Sam's business. I heard something in Mr. Tucker Carlson's interview with Mr. Matt Taibbi, the journalist. I heard something that, you know, I was kind of suspecting because I had it from another, I listened to it from another source, which was similar in idea. And the idea was that purposefully, Uncle Sam's managers, the whole complex, both the bureaucrats and the elected officials, have come to this kind of understanding that the ambassadors we send to these smaller countries, which is everybody smaller than us in Uncle Sam's land, the ambassadors that we send to these lands are going to be, we want them to not be familiar with the natives. Apparently this has become a sort of an accepted attitude towards ambassadors that are sent across the world. So you want to send somebody, you're in a business, and apparently this happened because after China and the communists took over China, you decided that no. Next time that the reason given was because the ambassador was on some sort of an understanding with the natives. Maybe he was, and maybe China had to go this path of, for a long period of time of collectivity. Maybe they had to pass this in order to reach a better destination, which we are all witnessing that they have, more or less, at least materially, they have reached their some kind of milestone with regards to production. So maybe that communism has had to be in their way, was a stepstone in getting them there. But the point is this, that what is the idea behind that became a reason for us not to send ambassadors, for Uncle Sam's managers, not us, I'm an alien here, for Uncle Sam's managers not to send an ambassador that is familiar with the natives, because then he may feel it's the right path in history for them. That's the thing. It's like we don't want our ambassador to go native or be on friendly term and understanding of the natives. Why? Because you want to increase misunderstandings? Because what's the end? What's the continuation of that sentence? If the Uncle Sam's ambassador in China was on the less wavelength than the Chinese, if he didn't speak Chinese and he wasn't on the same wavelength, he would have warned us to do what? To go prevent China from becoming communist? To go, stop it? To get involved in their business in Asia because the imperial China was better than the communist China? What is it to you? Why is it that the Anglo-Saxons or people who work for Anglo-Saxons get to decide that which country should be should be run in what system? Which tribe, literally tribe. There's the Chinese tribe, and there's a Russian tribe, and then there is a Mongolian tribe, and then there is a Ugandan tribe. They all live based on their own understanding, perspective in life. So you're saying that no, we don't care what is their perspective and their understanding is in life is. We don't care. We don't want to know. We don't want our ambassadors to know that. We want to send somebody there A zero. Somebody who the locals don't, because if he doesn't speak their language and he's not on the wavelength with him, the ambassadors, the natives are not going to, be very happy around him. So what are you sending? Not an ambassador, but a messenger. And these messengers are sent around the empire by, some kind of a, donation scheme. Okay, whoever can donate more to my campaign, if I win, I give you an ambassadorship. Folks, who did you learn running an empire from? Who did you learn running an empire from? From the fucking British? The British were horrible at running an empire. Everybody was always on the uprise during the British running of the empire. Every British had to continuously kill people to keep order. Besides that, a spread out empire, different islands, you just put two people down and you say, oh, this is mine from now on. I just put my flag down. That's not an empire. That's somebody going and spitting in everybody's food so he can have all the food. That's the Anglo-Saxon way. That's not a wise system. You don't need to have such a splash around the planet, all being under the same banner. No, you don't need that. That's the British tried that already. It doesn't work. Too spread out. It costs millions of dollars to send one battle group over here and millions of dollars to send one battle group over there. These millions of dollars are going up. Yeah, a spread out empire is difficult to run, but you have your own empire in North America. Why do you need anybody else's empire? Why do you think you need to protect some people in Asia or Europe from some other people who are also in Asia and Europe? Isn't the Asians and Europeans supposed to take care of themselves, or they need Anglo-Saxons heavy hand in the play? Folks, and again, I've heard this from some other source, but this was clearly came out that they insist, the Uncle Sam's manager insists on sending ambassadors around the world who don't know the locals, don't speak the language of the locals, don't want to know the locals. You're not sending an ambassador. This is not an ambassador. This is a tribune. I guess the Romans call them tribunes. You send your emissary over there to tell them what's what. You don't want to get to know the natives, because the natives may choose a way that is, unprofitable for you. So no, if the natives want to go native and choose a way that would be unprofitable for us, the Anglo-Saxons, if they want to go that way, we need to know, here's the thing about ignorance. In fact, you really are, going exactly 180 degrees the opposite way that you should be going. Instead of having, ambassadors, you're sending generals, you're sending tribunes, you're sending those who donated to your campaign more, so you won. And now it's their turn. That's the payback, and from now on he or she wants to be known as Madam Ambassador. That's for example, Mrs. McCain. And okay, does she speak Turkish? I think she was sent as an ambassador to Turkey or Greece, one of these two. And does she speak any of those languages? Does she have anything in common besides, maybe she likes Greek food? Does she have anything in common with the Greek? Has she studied Greek or Turkish history or literature in any degree? No. So why is the ambassador the highest If you send such an ignorant person there, the natives see that person as an ignoramus. They don't even want to, have communicate with that ambassador. Is that the point? You don't want an understanding with the natives. My friends at the Mr. Blinken's office, you know, no disrespect, but what is the idea? You don't want to have to come to any common ground with the natives, so you send somebody who actually doesn't speak the native language and doesn't know anything about the native. So he's basically a messenger to issue your messages to the natives. You have reinvented, colonialism. We don't want to have anything in common with the natives. Why? If you want to run, if you here's the thing: you can have an empire, but it doesn't need to be this fucking bloody. Your empire can be, based on you take a professor out of a university who speaks a native language and has been involved with the native culture of that land for a very long time. You send them over there and you listen to him, and not only him, all the people in that embassy have to be natives, be not, if not natives, speak the native language and know the native culture to hold the fucking embassy. So you can solve issues before they arise. That's how you run a peaceful empire. You solve issues before they arise. Why? Because your embassy, and the embassy's job is not to warn you so you can get involved. No. It seems Uncle Sam's managers have forgotten what's the fucking point of the embassy. The point of embassy is not to get involved in the business of the natives or to send them messages or expect them to, stand up when you walk in. Embassy is there to try to understand the natives. Whichever way the natives go, they choose to go. Whichever they come, they choose to come. It's not your business to know what's happening so you can get involved with what's happening. That becomes very expensive. Have you noticed, the budget apparently in North America? Everybody is out of whack because you keep spending money trying to, tell the natives what's what over there at the expense of the heart of the empire. Are you kidding me? This is the Anglo-Saxon way, I understand. But is it the wise way? Is it the wise way? Imagine, instead of sending, I'm not picking on Mrs. McCain. I used to live in Arizona, and she was the wife of the senator, one of the senators from Arizona. That's why I have a memory of her, and I know what she's doing because it's just a familiar name. But the point is this is not an exception. This is the norm. We send people as ambassadors to places where those people, we don't want them to be any familiarity. Should have any familiarity with the natives. And you wonder, why do you have so many conflicts? This is, because, our messenger expressed to the natives the will of the empire, and our messenger doesn't need to have any message back to us. We just want him to deliver the message, and he can deliver the message in English. And we don't need our ambassador to speak the local language, so the natives may have a message for us. We don't want to hear from the fucking natives. We don't accept any messages from the natives. The messages in the empire go in a wrongfully run empire, in a very wrongful way run empire. The messages only go one way, from the heart of the empire to the ambassadors who act as messengers. This is, are you fucking kidding me? The British tried this. It doesn't work. One by one, the natives, they're going to, again, we're going to have a bunch of more independence day around the world. The result of the British stupidity is half the world has to, celebrate the day that they got rid of the British. But you're putting your foot exactly in the steps of the British. You're following the exact footstep of the British in the business of how to run an empire. Folks, you need ambassadors who speak the native language. You need the natives to be native. Here's the thing, Mr. Blinken. You need the natives to be native. You can't just load up a bunch of Europeans in the corner of Asia and declare independence. It just doesn't work. The natives, you leave the natives to native land to the native people. That stops all the problems, and you don't want to have an exclusivity. Yeah, I understand you're using it as a military base, but it's not fair for the Jewish people. They all have PTSDs now. They've had PTSDs for 75 years. This is the videos that are coming out. It's acknowledgeable that these people have been brainwashed into thinking that all the native Arabs are all enemies and worthless. And you listen to that, you watch these videos, and you're like, oh shit, this is how brainwash works. They literally think the local flora and fauna is shit. Well, here, the native land is never going to run out of the native flora and fauna. It doesn't matter how many Agent Orange you drop on it. The natives are going to be natives. 75 years, North Korea is still standing there. 50 years, 75 years, North Korea is still there. The natives are going to be natives. And, South Korea is charging a lot of money to fight on your side. But this idea that you are going about running the empire the wrong way. You don't need to have a physical presence in all corners of the empire. And you leave it to the locals how much they want to pay you as a big brother. You leave it to locals, but you have ambassadors that actually understand the native people, speak their language, know their culture. And yes, sometimes revolutions are necessary, sometimes for the society to move from past the point. But outside involvement doesn't make anything better. And one look at Afghanistan should show you that outside involvement has only been from the Anglo-Saxons. Outside involvement from the Anglo-Saxons, because they were not natives, they are not neighbors. Involvement from Anglo-Saxons have been very detrimental to the Afghanis, because it's been 100 years that the Pinkskins have been interfering in Afghanistan, sending them weapons, sending weapons to friends. That's the problem with my enemy's enemy is my friend. The problem with that is that you end up in the bed with some questionable characters. So my point is this: what genius! I mean, when and the reality is right. It's like, imagine a professor of professor an professor in Egyptian studies has been sent as an ambassador to Egypt, and he speaks Arabic, and he's part Arab too. Grew up in San Francisco, for example, or in Nebraska, and he's always, for some reason or other, he's white, but he speaks Arabic, and he knows he's also, let's say, he's a Muslim. He's white, but he is converted to Islam and speaks Arabic. and speaks Arabic, converted to Islam, and he's sent as an ambassador and knows, is a professor of history of Arabs. He's sent to as an ambassador to Egypt, and all his underlings are his ex-students who have studied the same. Wouldn't this make an ideal embassy? Is an embassy of, let's say, Canada in Egypt. They're all from top to bottom. They're knee deep, waist deep. Have been all their life in the history of that part of the world and in the culture of that part of the world. You think there's going to be a misunderstanding with Egypt under those circumstances? No. You think the Egyptians are going to be happy? They're going to be very happy. They have an American ambassador who speaks their language and knows their culture better than they do that. But the point is, then you have to listen to this ambassador when he tries to be nice to the locals and not, conquer them. You see, that's the problem. When you go in with the mindset of as a conquerors, people who've conquered this, put your flag down, or it was your ex-colony or your cousin's ex-colony. When you go in with that mindset, you're going to be fighting the locals from day one. What is the problem with having educated people? The problem is, yes, imagine, Uncle Sam's ambassador to Egypt be more worldly and wise than the president. That doesn't work, right? You see, this is how the empire goes the wrong way. This is because, when you allow this is how where democracy goes the wrong way. When you allow the common man to choose their leader, the common man are attracted to common attributes. The common man is not really attracted to wise men. They're really not. Unless they hear the wise man, can do miracles, and here my arm is broken, here's my nut is out of place, here do your, song and dance and do me a miracle, or at least provide a nice song and dance show so I feel better when I leave your church. That's that's a different story. But my point is this: you can't have that. You can't have a wiser ambassador to Egypt than the president. You can't have the ambassador to Italy be more intellectual than the president. You can't have the ambassador to, Somalia be more wiser, more worldly, more informed than the president. That doesn't work in this hierarchical system in which the common man gets to choose the top leader. Well, the top leader is usually not very wise. The common man is not really attracted to wise men unless it's beneficial some way. And that's why these guys, pretend that they're all wise men. It's like they're beneficial. I give you tax breaks, I set you free, I blow smoke up your ass. But the point is this: common man is attracted to how much you can do for me. And anybody who promises well and maybe even does well, supposedly, but at what price, at what cost, And the reality comes down to this, that, it's understood, it's in many statistics, that North America contains 5% of the world population, but it consumes 25% of the world resources. So the idea is, even the most, the patriotic are saying that, we want to, we want to keep our standard of living. Everything is good. All is good. Fuck all of the rest of you. This is good for me. I'm not going to, step down from my standard of living. But then the reality is, if you want to consume 25% of the world's resources while you already have only 5% of the world's population, then you're going to be banging a few heads. You're going to be forced to bang the few heads because you want more. You want their share. As simple as that. You want their share, and therefore having an understanding ambassador doesn't work. Because an understanding ambassador don't want you, even though he represents you, but a wise ambassador doesn't want you robbing the natives blind. Doesn't want that. But an unwise ambassador who has studied, I don't know, studied nursing or studied, economics, doesn't know, her ass from a hole in the ground, and doesn't speak the native language, you just send such an ambassador in, and you just, whenever you have something to say, you tell the messenger to tell the natives this or that. That's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for not wanting to know the natives, not wanting to have anything in common with the natives. Folks, I understand whoever says that we want to fuck the natives because we want more and they should expect less, and if they're not happy with that, we're going to fuck the natives. The war is never going to end because the natives, unless you wipe them out like the Redskins, you just wipe the map clean.